What's an antisocial habit you refuse to feel bad about? Story 1. I have almost no social media presence outside of Reddit. It is nice to not have that stress. My friends find it annoying, as I am not always the easiest person to reach and occasionally disappear into my own head for weeks on end. But it is much more freeing than being caught in the cycles of social media drama. Answer: same. I only need contact with those I'm close to. I don't need 500 friends, and the idea of followers scares me. The pressure to present an interesting, aesthetically pleasing life while you wait for the likes to come in fills me with dread. I want to stay at home and read a book, be satisfied with the small things in life, and just be me without expectations. Story 2. Saying no because I know if I join those people when I'm not feeling like it, I won't enjoy it, and they won't enjoy my company. Answer: OMFG. I wish a friend of mine understood this. He comes to get-togethers when he's in a shoot mood, is a grouch the whole time, and frames it in his head as a sacrifice and gift for his friends, the fulfillment of an obligation. So when we're all hanging out, he's surly, will act like anyone checking on him is being obnoxious, and storms out and leaves early. What part of that is supposed to be a gift, my dude? Anyways, thank you for taking care of yourself and also extending that kindness to your friends. I'm glad your friends understand you as well as you know yourself. Story 3. Not explaining myself when I don't want to, saying no, thank you is polite, no need to read more into it. Story 4. Being excited when plans get cancelled. I love my family and friends, but I also really enjoy being a bum at my house. Story 5. I spend the majority of my personal time alone or sitting silently next to my boyfriend while we both play our separate video games. I very much prefer being alone, and I'm not going to sacrifice my preferences for the preferences of other people. I only keep friends who recognize that I'm not feeling it is a valid reason to break plans so it works out. But a lot of people think it's unhealthy to not have an active and thriving social life. Edit. Guys, I know the difference between antisocial and asocial. Nothing in this thread is antisocial. The top comment is a guy who's not on social media. It's all asocial stuff. My comment isn't any different, so there's really no need to point it out. Answer: I spend the majority of my personal time alone or sitting silently next to my boyfriend while we both do our thing. Please tell me your secret for finding someone that enjoys this dynamic. I so very much crave the together in the same space, but not necessarily engaged dynamic, and it's seemingly incredibly uncommon in the dating scene. Single-player video games and hiking are my major hobbies, and I do them specifically because I don't want to engage socially with anyone. But I simultaneously crave the presence of a partner within said activities. Story 6. Reading no one to talk to and no one bothering me. Relief. Also, no social medias besides this since October last year. My real friends gotta contact my phone directly. Welp, guess I don't have many. Secret yay, lol. Story 7. I don't answer texts. I dislike being available at all times for someone to communicate with. It's so noisy. I truly dislike it. Story 8. Not replying to messages. Unless it's urgent, important, or a matter of life and passing, I will take all the time in the world to reply. Story 9. Not returning texts, calls within 10 minutes. Everyone expects an instant reply. I like to put my phone on DND and relax. Story 10. I think you and most people in this thread are talking about being a social, lol. Antisocial is very different. Anyway, my asocial habit is canceling plans because I just don't want to go out. I guess if I had to choose an antisocial habit, it might be blasting my music in my car and not caring if other people are upset by hearing it. If a good song comes on, I'm cranking it. Story 11. I don't say anything when people sneeze because I think it's a stupid habit. Why acknowledge this basic bodily function every time it occurs? You'll thank people who do it when I sneeze because I'm not impolite. Story 12. Not playing with, engaging with strangers' kids. As a young, approachable-looking woman, it's shocking how many people try to get me involved in a parenting moment with their little darlings. I tend to smile and ignore. I mean, no harm. Unfortunately, I just don't have the social skills to deal with such situations. Story 13. I see that you are texting or calling me, but I will ignore you on purpose until I feel like talking. Story 14. I used to get called out a lot because my brothers or cousins would notice after I said something, especially something that required a bit of thought or was a longer statement. They could see my lips removing it silently 1 or 2 times over after I'd said it. And while all, including myself, agreed it was a strange behavior, I still do it to this day. I've just learned to do it without moving my lips, and I credit it for why I regularly receive compliments for being well-spoken and articulate with my words. Because when I was repracticing what I just said, I was often correcting myself from misspeaking, mispronunciations, or just trying to find a way to make things flow smoother. Story 15. We both own dogs. That doesn't make us friends. I'm just out for a walk. Don't want to talk to some old jerk person I'd gaff about. Story 16. I leave my phone on silent. Vibrate off as well. Phone calls aren't a necessary part of my job. If you need to talk to me or want to check in, just do it in a text. Had friend that would say I never pick up the phone or call back. I just text back. I'm like, yeah, I figured you'd pick up on it eventually. Story 17. I have a zen room to just disconnect and decompress. No electronics, just a bed and some nightstands. I could spend a few minutes or a whole day processing my thoughts and emotions without distractions. Story 18. I have Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, but haven't posted in 7-8 years. I also rarely answer my phone. Just leave a message, I'll get back to you. Story 19. Everyone close to me knows this about me because I'm very clear about it. But if you drop by my house without any prior warning or a heads up to see if I'm cool with it, you're entirely dependent on my mood whether I let you in. Unless it's an emergency, of course. Like if I opened the door and saw my mom there and I was not trying to have company, I would send her away. And I love my mom. I refuse to feel bad about that. To me, just randomly showing up at someone's house with no heads up is extremely disrespectful to their time and whatever they were doing or planned to do that day. So at that point, I don't care about your feelings about being turned away, because you didn't care about mine when you decided to show up unannounced. Story 20. When I don't like how something is going, I leave. Like, just walk away. Could be a close friend, a job, whatever. Look, I only have a little bit of time to be alive, and you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. I'm not trying to waste my time changing other people. I just go. Bye. Story 21. Leaving a social gathering when my socializing energy runs out, even if the event isn't officially over. I'm tired after over 5 hours of mingling and active listening. ESP if they're PPO I'm not close friends with, but rather just colleagues or friends of friends. Story 22. I don't mess with most social media outside of Reddit and occasional meme reposts on Facebook, and I absolutely detest small talk. Story 23. Irish goodbyes. I'll say goodbye to the host or whoever put the function on and thank them. anybody I may know closely, then I'm out. I see absolutely no reason to turn my leaving into an event. Why does it matter? Story 24. OP has failed to define antisocial. Most people are answering in terms of asocial behavior. Antisocial behavior is similar to sociopathy. Story 25. Any of it. The only reason I associate with people anymore is to take the edge off of thinking I can work hard enough to afford a secluded house and live in it alone. I'll make memories, but I won't make promises. I've learned once you're isolated for a long time in your youth, you might lose yourself in a crowd once for something. Once that something's found, you'd rather retreat into what you've always known. In the beginning, being antisocial is hell, but then you learn it's actually heaven. Story 26. Leaving gatherings without saying goodbye, leaving people on read, never opening their message, signoring phone calls, going radio silent for weeks, popping back up like nothing happened. I'm autistic and traumatized, and I have a hard enough time dealing with myself on the daily. Story 27. Ignoring people while reading or having my earbuds in. If I wanted to converse with a stranger, I would do so. Story 28. When my boyfriend invites his friends over for D&D, I often hide upstairs in our bedroom. There's a TV there and it's quiet, comfy. I like all his friends, but they're a lot when they're excited and in character. Story 29. Won't answer the door to a stranger anymore because it's only ever salespeople, charity scammers, or religious proselytizers. Story 30. I wouldn't say it's antisocial per se, because I was hired to answer the phone, so I'm always at my desk in my own office. But my co-workers think I am antisocial precisely because I am at my desk doing work and not loitering around shooting the shoot all day like they do. When you keep to yourself, even if it's your job too, people make all sorts of assumptions about you. A lot of them aren't flattering. It helps me to know who I don't want to associate with if I ever do wind up being social at work. Story 31. Asocial. Unless you do mean harming animals and manipulating those around you. I don't feel bad about ignoring strangers who try to start conversation with me when I have headphones on. That's like a universal sign to leave someone be unless there's an emergency. I don't owe people casual conversation when I've given them every indication that I want to be left alone. Story 32. I did not feel like chatting to the neighbors today when we were out the front together. I'm not well, and it was enough of a mission to go outside to get some chores done. I really had zero capacity for small talk. Story 33. I'm literally at a kid's party right now full of people and their children I don't know. Am in the party? No. I'm out walking around the woodland next to it whilst it rains. I'd rather do this than be in there. Story 34. I say whatever I want when racist or homophobic idiots say racist or homophobic things to me. Their reasoning of you must agree because you look like me bites them in the jerk. Every time. Story 35. I'm dog-sitting for a family I met through a pet-sitting gig app. Their ex-door neighbor invited me to her massive party shindig. I didn't know anyone there. Walk in, make a plate of food, eat it while staring at the live band. Throw plate away, walk out front door and go back to the pet-sitting house and veg on the couch. I did this twice, once for lunch and once for dinner. I'm so happy with myself. Story 36. Making small talk just for the sake of it. I can sit there and not say anything and not feel awkward one bit. Story 37. When I am ready to leave a party and there is a bunch of people there, I don't go around and do individual goodbyes. Some people will trap you in like 20 more minutes of conversation. And that can happen multiple times. Not trying to spend an hour trying to leave haha. I either just leave or I will yell, "Bye, everyone," at the door and wave and leave. Story 38. Not responding right away. Having alone time saying bye. Abruptly, "Listen. We have talked. We don't have to bullshit each other for 15 extra minutes. Bye." Story 39. Not being the spontaneous friend. I'm an older mom. Most of my friends have teenagers or kids in their 20s. I have a toddler. And they expect me to drop everything and join them for drinks, outings, or random trips. I can't do that. I need to plan things out in advance to make sure my son is taken care of. I constantly say no to invites, but I don't care because my son comes first. Story 40. I don't answer the door or my phone. I am simply not reachable to people. If you need something, call someone else. I'm busy and don't have time to get taken advantage of. Story 41. I don't answer the phone. I have really bad phone trauma anxiety, and I just stopped years ago. I'll still deal with or address the thing by text, in person, email, or maybe calling on my own terms. I'm just not going to answer unless it's my kids or husband. Story 42. Not making small talk. I'm already more of a listener than a talker, and I'll engage with people if they want to talk, but I'm not going out of my way to keep them entertained for a more long-winded answer. I've been in recovery for social anxiety for 10 years now. There are so many antisocial habits I picked up just to feel safe in the world, and I refuse to feel guilty for them. Besides my no small talk habit, I also don't make eye contact very well. I'm aware that I'm socially awkward, and I know I don't get along with everyone. I don't try to force it anymore. I have RBF, and I don't mind it because it keeps people away. If I want to be social, I'll seek people out. I don't want to be sought out. The older I get, the more I realize it's more exhausting to try to fit in than it is to just exist as the person I'm meant to be. I'm happier as me, and I know there are people who love me for exactly who I am, not who I can be. I have a close-knit group of friends, and my boyfriend and I love our quiet little life. I'm happy being antisocial because it's when I feel calmest and safest. Story 43. I don't like receiving visitors, especially surprise visit. I make a point of showing my discomfort and imposing my limits. There are people who are fudge clueless. Story 44. Saying I don't want to or I'm not interested is a valid reason, and you don't have to explain yourself. Story 45. I feel no compulsion to bridge the gap with people outside of my immediate family, just for the sake of chatting with people I don't actually like. Story 46. As a woman, accompanying women to washrooms. I don't want to go around and giggle inside the restroom. Let me do my business and get off, but I do think it is one of the most authentic way to bond with other women. Story 47. Not wanting to befriend any of my coworkers. I'm in the office one day a week or lease. If there's something to discuss about work or if a conversation just happens to be around a topic I like, sure, then I engage a little bit. But other than that, I don't really talk much to my coworkers. I have a tiny social battery, no desire to talk to any of them about their private lives, and a lot of people just don't understand. Story 48. Ignoring people when I have headphones. If someone has headphones on, they clearly don't want to talk to you. Story 49. When I'm at a social gathering, because I promised I'd go, I'll ask where the bathroom is and proceed to walk out the front door and go home. Story 50. Driving myself places when hitching a ride is available. I want to leave when I want, not wait on people or make people wait for me. Story 51. Telling people I don't want to see a funny TikTok, Vine, YouTube short meme, and if they shove their phone in my face to force me to do watch the TikTok, Vine, YouTube short meme. I'll stare at it blankly, then go back to what I'm doing, or just repeat myself louder. I don't want to see it. I don't want to. I don't want to see it. Story 52. Not chatting the whole time I get my hair cut. I will do 5 minutes of chatting, but then I want to relax on my phone or do some work. Story 53. Swearing. If I feel that it's called for in the situation, I will say it. Don't care if it's offensive. There's a lot more to life that's gonna hurt, much worse than a swear word. Story 54. Laying in bed until I'm ready to see people. If nothing is scheduled and I'm not ready to emerge, I will not. Story 55. Not going where I'm not welcome. I know this might not be antisocial per se, but I'd rather watch paint dry than do small talk with someone who doesn't like me, doesn't want me there. Story 56. Not having my phone on vibrate sound on when I don't have anything important and not replying for hours to random texts. I love my friends and family, but I can't be on the lookout for random texts 247. I need my me time. I couldn't survive without it. I will reply when I can. Story 57. When people say we gotta hang out and leave it at that, I never believe they really want to, especially if they initiate it. They should be the ones who start the convo of planning. Story 58. Avoiding people who are sick. If you're a coworker and we need to interact, I'm staying away from you. We have electronic methods of communication. If you're a friend, I'll pick you up Gatorade or soup or something to help you get better, but then I'll leave you alone to do it. Story 59. If I don't think I'll enjoy myself or the company I'm not going, does it make me antisocial? Maybe a little, but it also means I don't waste my evenings at places or with people who drain the life out of me. Story 60. Refusing to show up to parties or family gatherings. I'm not against being out in the world, but I almost never have any interest in showing up to an event where there's going to be adult beverage involved, or if someone is going to be running their mouth about something. Story 61. Refusing to join the after-work bar hangout. Meanie, I'm trying to leave, not extend my time and have adult beverage with you. Story 62. Avoiding group dynamics that have enmeshment potential, not trusting or bonding with someone off of mutual recommendation. Seems antisocial to some, but is just psychosocially healthy and reduces potential predators. Story 63. Not having friends. Sometimes I miss deep philosophical topics, but that's it. My BF is my best friend, and girlfriends are too much drama for me in general. So, I'm good. Story 64. Saying fudge your feelings when something can't be looked past. Not specifically being rude, just a strong way of saying, I'm putting my feelings first. I never actually say anything, just decide that I'm going to take care of myself. Story 65. Not wanting to make small talk with neighbors. I can't be bothered, just want to get to work and go home fast without interruption. Story 66. I have Reddit and FB only. FB I only joined because I had cousins who announced babies and weddings and such. I would see them and say, I didn't know you had a baby. I didn't know you got married. And the answer was always, I put it on Facebook. So I got FB to get updates and to send pics of my kids to them. I refuse to get any of the others and probably actively dislike TikTok. For no reason, just really don't like it. I get made fun of sometimes by coworkers when I don't recognize the name of a YouTuber or celebrity or influencer. I think influencers are the most ridiculous people of all. Time. I really don't care what product or habit someone has. I make my own decisions based on my own research. My own soapbox. LOL. Story 67. Saying, "Okay, I'm done. Bye." And leaving whatever conversation I'm currently in without explaining myself. Story 68. Telling someone that you want to change the topic or that talking about something has now become boring. Story 69. My husband occasionally has to travel for work, meaning I can have the house to myself for the whole day or overnight. I love it, not because I dislike having him around, but because, unlike a lot of women, I cherish occasional solitude. One time he had to leave for a week, and my mom was like, "Are you worried about being alone all that time?" I laughed and said I was going to be fine. Some people were brought up to think something was wrong with those who prefer a little alone time. I'm glad my generation recognizes that occasional solitude is healthy for the mind. Story 70. Ignoring my chatty coworker, I don't mind to be friendly or have a bit of small talk, but I don't want to have a loud, boring conversation with someone who never takes a breath ever. Story 71. When I'm at a party or at a social gathering, I tend to go and find myself a quiet spot where I can just sit and be finally alone. Story 72. I tell all my friends that I don't have internet, electricity, or anything like a signal. It's funny because I make jokes about it and they genuinely like it, but at the same time I use it to never coexist in the virtual world. Story 73. I was going to say leaving parties early, but the fact that I even go to parties perhaps makes me ineligible to answer this at all. Story 74. I'm sick with a rare disease that shuts down organs, and I refuse treatment at 32. I've had so many surgeries and been in so much pain that I find it easier being alone. I refuse to feel bad about not prolonging my suffering with one of two medical options. Neither is a cure, only symptom management. Mom and brother have the same disease, so I am fully aware of the extent of it. Story 75. Staying inside. I am a person who likes their own space and does their own thing. I would much rather be inside, gaming and watching movies, than having to go outside. I do go outside, just rarely. Story 76. I don't share any information about my life outside of work with my co-workers, and I don't pretend to be interested in any of their personal lives either. If we talk, it's about work or the weather, LOL. Story 77. Walking out of a room mid-conversation when someone isn't listening or trying to deflect. It's just really funny. Story 78. Going out by myself all the time, especially over the past few years, including traveling and going to concerts and music festivals. Story 79. Ignoring the people who are fake to me. Whack when people pretend to like you, but it's really obvious to the point when it looks like the IRL version of this Hiwai name. I love how you did your hair. Today it's painful, so listen to and annoying. Story 80. Okay, put a very spiky collar on my scary-looking dog so people won't talk to me. I also don't go to events I don't want to or don't know people. Story 81. I being old, dozing off is not surprising. I take advantage of that stereotype. When my wife takes me to her family activities, I participate for the main event. Happy birthday, gifting, and then with my Bluetooth hearing aids paired to my phone, I put on the app Django Radio and doze until time to leave. I married a widow. While polite, most of her family are happy if I don't show up. I feel like I am a poor successor to their father, brother, grandpa. Smile. Suits me. Unless I ask a question, they have nothing to say. No problem, I have no history with them. Story 82. I will flat out say nope. when asked if I want to give to charity when I am a captive audience. I know it is a dirty tactic. Story 83. If I recognize someone at the grocery store, I'll typically keep my head down and turn the other direction. I dislike shopping and want to get out of stores as quickly as possible.